Welcome back to Man vs. Meeple, the show where we talk about all things board game related. We are here today with a preview of a game from Eagle-Gryphon Games called Skyways. This is going to be hitting Kickstarter soon. It is a 2 to 4 player game, 60 minutes, maybe a little bit more if you're playing with 4 players.
Yeah, it is an abstract game in which players are going to be building up a kind of a city.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
With either double tile buildings or single tile buildings and scoring points each time they play a new tile into the city.
Yeah, definitely very abstract game for sure. You don't see a lot of abstract games for 4 players. But like you said, you're building up your city, and it's all about sort of coordinating the colors that you're drawing out of the bag.
Yeah. So let's talk about the components real quick. Each player at the start of the game will start with 6 single tiles of the 6 possible colors in the game.
Right.
There are 45 double tiles, which are basically connected by a skyway that are thrown into the bag. Now there's 3 of each combination of color. So you'll have 3 green and whites connected together. So for those people that are mathy and like to figure out what's left still, they can do that in this game for sure.
That definitely comes into play, for sure.
There is capitals. Capitals can be placed on top of buildings through the course of the game. They have to be placed in ascending orders. There's 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s, and they have numbers that are pre-printed on the capitals themselves. This is a prototype, and for stretch goals, there may be new capitals as well.
Right, and these colors aren't necessarily final, and it should be pointed out, too, that these colors on the capitals are not consistent with the colors of the pieces. These are player colors.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to, like I said, you have to build them in ascending order. So you have to build your 2 capital before you build your 3, then 4, then 5. Those capitals give you into the game scoring multipliers, so they're not scored until the end. The game is very simple. Basically, what's going to happen on a player's turn is you're going to pull 1 double tile out of the bag. You're going to keep it secret behind your hand, and then you're going to place it on the board. Now, there's a couple different options for how you place your tiles. You can place a double tile anywhere on the board as long as it doesn't create a ramp. So, for instance, we have a board that's already pre-set up. You couldn't place this here unless there's a supporting structure underneath of it. You can never place double tiles on top of themselves directly where you have 2 skyways that are overlapping. Those have to be placed in a catty corner or with another portion in between them.
Right.
You can place single tiles as well. Now, the trick on playing single tiles is you have to actually discard your double tile that you drew for the round in order to place it on the board, or you can use single tiles to support any number of single tiles to support a double tile structure. So if I wanted to place this in a location that was high enough, I could use 2, 3, or 4 supports to be able to place that logistically. Now, scoring is the unique portion of it.
Yeah, scoring is really, it's unique, but also quite simple. So when you place a tile, be it a single or a double tile, you're going to basically add up all of the continuous adjacent colors of the ones that you've just played.
Yeah. An example is if I wanted to place this blue and green with the support structure underneath of it, I could place it right here, and then I would score 1, 2, 3 green, and then 1, 2, 3 blue.
Right.
And you're going to continue doing that round after round until the last double tile is built through the game. Now, one of the options you can do on your turn is after you've placed a tile, you can build a capital. Now, the capitals have to be built, as we previously mentioned, in ascending order, but they also have to be built on a specific level. So a level 2 capital has to be built on the 2nd level up.
Right.
A level 3 has to be built on the 3rd level up. And you have to build it over a unique color. So here we have a level 3 green, and it's built over orange, meaning at the end of the game, this level 3 capital will score 3 times the number of orange tiles that it is adjacent to.
Exactly.
And there's rules in there, too, that state that you can't place another capital structure connected to a common color of a different capital.
Yeah, there's some gameplay that comes in there. If Jeremy scored a big area and put a capital in like 7 green, I could potentially strategically place my tile on my turn to break his green up.
Yep.
You know, so he only has an area of 3, so then there's 4 left. Then I can maybe grab those 4 and score those.
And that's a huge portion of the game. I mean, the game is really built about jockeying territories and being able to build these capital structures on top of them to give you in-game points. But the trick is, too, is you don't want to build them too early because of the fact that people can come in there and not only take that territory away from you, but also use the territory that you've built massively and build their own capitals on top of them.
Yeah, or even just score points. I mean, if you've built up a massive area at the beginning of the game, I can just add 1 to that area, and score another 10 points and add another one. It all depends on what you draw out of the bag. The other thing we didn't mention too, when you build these capitals, they have to be built on the double tiles. You can't place a single tile and then place a capital. And speaking of the single tiles, these are really interesting too, because like Jeremy said, you can use these to sort of stack up and level off a double tile placement. But holding on to these can be kind of strategic too, because you want some of these individual colors. So for instance, if I broke up Jeremy's big green area, he might be able to go back and with one tile placement, resecure and reconnect all that green if he's held on to it.
And vice versa. You can also use them in a strategic way where you're breaking up locations of other players at the end. You know, discarding that double tile and placing a key location that could break up a 10-point scoring area for a player. So yeah, at the end of the game, you're going to use all the victory points that you've previously collected, plus your multipliers for each of the capitals. And that's the game. It plays really, really quick. I mean, it's a 60-minute game for 2 up to 4 players.
Yeah, and it's unique, too. I think we played it at a 2-player game. I'd like to try it at a 4-player count just to see if it took any longer. It shouldn't, because you're really just working with the same number of tiles in the bag no matter what.
Yeah. So that is Skyways from Eagle-Gryphon Games. If you guys have any questions, please make them in the comments below, and we'll answer them to the best of our ability. Subscribe to us, please. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and everything else that we do here at Man vs. Meeple, and we will catch you guys next time.
Bye-bye.